Hello and welcome to Joe Gangi's Midwest Martial Arts Report. This is our first show. What we're trying to accomplish in our show is bring out different formats of martial arts, different styles. We're going to bring out different martial artists. We're going to try to bring out is more of different styles of techniques, such as styles that prefer punching over kicking, grappling over wrist locking, so forth and so on. In our show, if you would like to see any of our practitioners, or I should say you have anybody in mind who would want to participate in our show, you're welcome to contact us. You'll see in the listings at the end of the show. We're going to also talk about different philosophical point of views in the show, self-defense techniques, what the martial arts are about today in the 90s, as opposed to doing a lot of traditional forms, a lot of traditional format on it. The show's format is going to include youth focus. We're going to have weapons defense, forms, women's self-defense, senior citizen self-defense, special segments such as kickboxing reports, regular tournament reports. From that point on, what we like to demonstrate on each show is different segments on the martial arts. As I stated before, we like to put on segments on wrist locking type techniques, where I show different ways of using hand combinations, kicking combinations, throws, and lockdowns on it. The show is going to have more of an open type format on it, as we are going to discuss everything from traditional values to martial arts values in the 90s. All right. Also, as the show goes on, as I'm looking at my list here on it, we're going to show you like different styles versus each other, such as Taekwondo versus Shotokan, Kung Fu versus Thai boxing versus full contact or Americanized type kickboxing. A lot of people do not understand out there in the product what the difference is between all these full contact sports. We're going to present a format for that on it. We're going to demonstrate such as American kickboxing, where kicks are above the waist and hands are above the waist, as opposed to Thai boxing, where you're allowed to kick to the thighs, you're allowed to elbow, you're allowed to knees, and you're allowed to throw. We're also going to demonstrate point fighting. Point fighting, basically you're allowed to sweep, you're allowed to punch to the body, punch to the head, kick to the groin or strike the groin area. You're also allowed to follow up on a takedown, as opposed to, let's say, a Taekwondo tournament where only kicks are acceptable and body punches have to be followed. Body punches do have to be followed by kicks. Again, a lot of this seems complicated. The purpose of the show is to show you the difference between all these different sports. At the same time, bring out the best of different martial arts. We're going to have different guests, such as Mr. Tom Letuli, head of the Midwest Circuit, Master Stephen Abate, head of Cobra Kai. We're going to have different styles, such as Goju stylist, a Shorin Ryu stylist on it, Wing Chun stylist. Hopefully we'll get Mr. Fred Dagerberg, who is very excellent in regards to talk and philosophizing about different Indonesian arts. Again, bear with us, and we hope to present the best in this show as time goes on. Thank you. Hello and welcome back to Joe Gangi's Midwest Scene Report. This segment of the show, we'd like to present self-defense in the 90s. I'm going to show you various self-defense techniques at different ranges of fighting. You have such as kicking range, you have punching range, you have elbow and knee range, wrist lock, arm lock, chokes, and controlling type situations. Due to the time and effect, we're not going to have any takedowns as of now. We'll do this in one of our future shows on it. Assisting me today is Sensei Kevin Miller, Midwest National Kickboxing Champion, welterweight. National champion, I should say, on that. So we're going to start off with just showing you the different ranges from a basic perspective on it. Sense it, Kevin? All right. First, we have what's called kicking range. Kicking range is basically any type of kick that keeps your opponent away. So in kicking range motion, you have front kicks. Your front kick should basically, for a basic level, should be coming through center, knee up, using the heel, such as to the groin, thigh, knee, solar plexus, or ball of foot to face. Again, that is your front kick. You also have what's called a side kick action. Your side kick action, what I'm basically doing is I'm taking my knee and kicking to the knee area, go to groin area, solar plexus area, or throat area. Again, high kicks are not recommended for street use. The only time you should use a high kick is after X amount of years of experience and actual ability in sparring situations and in actual everyday conditioning type drills. All right. Kicking range can also be if your opponent's in a fighting distance position. Fine stance, Sensei. Okay, Sensei Kevin's in our left lead on, so now my kicking range becomes his front leg, okay, using the knee, the thigh area. Kicking range can also be down the center line of the body. Could be through his rib area. Can also be utilized if his hands are in position. I can use my kicking range to come in and kick at the elbow area. That's basically what we call basic kicking range. Okay, raise stance position. Okay, striking range position. From a, what they call a traditional point of view, your striking range is from the hip level to face level. You have such as a straight punch, hand is rotating. It's coming from the hip straight into your opponent. You have palm striking to the nose. Okay. You have split fingers or striking with the fingertips at eye level. Going to the eyes. You can also use fingertips to go into the throat, into the solar plexus level. You're also using the hand striking range, such as palm striking, okay, back fisting, knife handing, ridge hand, so forth. So, okay, when I'm using striking range with the hand, I could hit with the front two knuckles, the back of the knuckles, the side of the hand, the heel of the hand, the ridge part of the hand. Continue down the arm, I can also strike with the forearm, inside the forearm, okay, outside the forearm, swing it up with the forearm into the groin, clotheslining across the head area. Punching range too. Okay, I could use what's called a jab from practical point of view instead of striking from the hip, which you really can't tell there's somebody in the street, wait a minute, let me drop into my stance so I could do this. Doesn't work. That's great for training. It'll get you killed on the street. What you want is basically jabbing at distance, so I could jab out using a straight close fist position, split fingers position, palm striking, raking, or back fisting. Okay, rear side or rear cross, or what you call a reverse punch. So now I could jab, I can cross, I can hook, I can uppercut. All right. Okay, that's arm range. Now, in close, I have my elbows. Put your hands up front. So when I'm striking with the elbows, coming across to the face, into the body, I could cut up into the chin. I could down strike into the throat area. I could uppercut if I'm dropping below, going into the groin area. Okay? If my opponent happens to spin on me, I could use it going into the kidney. I could use it going down into the spine area. Okay, and that's elbow range. Knee in range, very easy. Getting in, basically what mom taught you. Strike him in the groin with your knee. I could use the thigh area, rib area, bringing his head down, coming across the head. If your opponent has his lead side out, I can control my opponent by checking, grabbing, using the knee into the thigh area, hip area, kidney area. Okay. Locking range, lock up range. If my opponent grabs me, I could check, roll over into an arm lock. Okay, he grabs me again, stun, check, over. If he does a double grab on me, okay, come to center, go into the face area, knee, down to elbow. Come and grabbing situation, again, if somebody comes up, grabs you, now as soon as the grab comes, you have to be aware because this individual can strike your knee. So again, as soon as he grabs, you have to have a controlling situation. Control, okay, strike the face, knee to the groin. Okay. This could be a common basic situation. Okay, now, that way your opponent can grab you is from the rear. So if he grabs you from the rear side situation, mugging situation, this is close range. He's grabbing across the shoulders. My first weapon is my head. Okay, I could stomp his foot, which might be out of camera range right now. Anyway, side step using the elbows going up, hitting the groin area, elbow, slipping the grab, breaking the elbow, falling through with a kick to the face area. Again, so if he grabs me, I'm stopped here. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip, 5, bam, finish 6. Another common mugging situation is coming across the throat areas. Your opponent grabs you in the choke. First thing you want to do is do not look side to side. Tuck your chin in, stomp the foot. Again, hit the groin area, elbow, recheck elbow, spin, coming across the face area. Okay, so again, when he grabs me, again, in, 1, 2, 3, step out, finish, and follow through. Always follow through on. Okay, again. So again, understanding your basic ranges is very important. I don't want to utilize the kick. Since Kevin is grabbing me here, I really don't want to grab him and do a round kick to his face or a front kick to his face. At this range, I want to basically utilize my fist, my elbows, my knees, headbutt if I have to, or spin him to get control out of him. As he's out of range, that's total out of range. Anyway, okay, next, again, if he's in a fine distance, okay, I want to basically utilize this distance, I want to utilize kicks. Again, avoid high kicks until you know exactly what you're doing with your fancy round kicks, front kicks, round kicks. Again, kicking range at distance. Okay, hope this helps you out. Again, self-defense in the 90s. Thank you for having us. More to be followed. Hello, welcome to Shihan Gangi's youth focus on Gangi's Kung Fu system. I'd like to introduce the Gangi's Kung Fu demo team. To my right here, we have Kyle Siebert. Kyle, bow. Warren Carberg, Scott Melo, Anthony Loiacono, and Scott Bartsh. We're going to be asking today a few questions about the ins and outs of the martial arts and everyday life. First of all, we have Kyle Siebert. Kyle, can you tell us how old you are?
10.
Okay, what city you hail from? Where you from?
Glenview, Illinois.
How long have you been in martial arts, Kyle?
6 years.
6 years on it. What school do you belong to?
Hoffman.
Hoffman on it. How are your grades doing in Hoffman?
Really improved.
Really improved on it. What do you attribute this to?
Martial arts.
Martial arts training. Okay, what is your goal in martial arts?
Be a kickboxer.
Be a kickboxer. Hopefully someday to go for a championship or something to that degree?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Kyle. Next we have Warren Carberg. Warren, how old are you?
10 years old.
What city are you from, Warren?
Grace Lake, Illinois.
Grace Lake, Illinois. How long have you been in the martial arts, Warren?
4 years.
4 years on it. What school do you belong to?
St. Mary's School.
St. Mary's School on it. What grade level are you in?
5th.
5th. How are your grades?
Excellent.
Excellent. What do you attribute this to?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu training. What are your goals for your Kung Fu training in the future?
To become a kickboxer.
Become a kickboxer and do what with it? What do you expect to do once you become a kickboxer?
To be a state champion.
Be a state champion. Okay, thank you, Warren. Next we have Adam Mello on it. Adam, how old are you?
12.
12. How long have you been in the martial arts, Adam?
About 4 years.
About 4 years. What school do you go to?
Churchville.
Churchville on it. What city are you from?
Elmhurst.
Elmhurst on it. What are your goals for the future of yourself in the martial arts?
I like to kickbox.
Another one that likes to kickboxing. Obviously, kickboxing is the thing to do nowadays on it. What do you plan to do with your kickboxing career?
Hit people real hard.
Hit people real hard on it. Okay. Thank you, Adam. Next, we have Anthony Loiacono. Anthony, how old are you?
13.
You're 13. How long have you been in the martial arts?
About 9 years.
About 9 years. What school do you belong to?
Wakanda Middle School.
Wakanda. Obviously, what city you go to?
Wakanda, Illinois.
Where are you from?
Wakanda, Illinois.
Wakanda, Illinois on it. What are your future goals in the martial arts?
To become an instructor and help teach.
And help teach on it. How has the martial arts helped you in everyday life or in school?
Helped me a lot.
And with regards to what?
Grades and listening to the teacher.
And focusing?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Next, we have Scott Bartsh. Scott, how old are you?
14 years old.
14 years old. How long have you been in the martial arts, Scott?
For about 7 years now.
About 7 years on it. What are your future goals for the martial arts?
To become an instructor and teach.
And teach on it. Has the martial arts help you a lot in school right now?
Yes, very much so.
What school do you go to?
Stevenson High School.
Stevenson High School. What do you plan to do with the martial arts after you become an instructor?
Eventually, possibly open my own store and
Open
teach.
your own studio.
My own studio.
Studio.
And teach other kids and pass it on.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Scott. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show the kids doing some self-defense and some point tournament. We're going to start off with Warren Carberg and Kyle Siebert in regards to point tournament fighting. Thank you, gentlemen. Would you please walk off? Put on your gear. Go put on your gear. Okay, we're going to change up. We're going to have Scott and Anthony come back on the floor. We're going to have Scott and Anthony come back on the floor showing some self-defense move. All right, gentlemen, face the cameras. Bow in, please. All right. First, we're going to show defense against just a common straight punch attack. Scott attacks and he sidestep, punches the face, kicks, and back fists out. Okay. Scott blocks, hits, kicks, bridge hands out. Okay, these are common basic self-defense moves you can do against different types of attacks on it. There's the kicking, punching, ridge hand level, kneeing. Okay, defense against grabs, rear bear hug grab. Counter with a kick. Okay. Call that headlock grab position, ripping back, hitting, 2. Give you a different look at it. Bear hugs, known as the sidestepping, elbowing, and kicking. Headlock defense, ripping back, hitting the rib, hitting the throat area. Okay, next we're going to have Scott grab Anthony with a double hand grab, and Anthony's going to show you how to use a basic scrape, grab, double hand lapel, breaking, hitting, kicking out. Okay, now Anthony's going to grab Scott to give you a different view, different types of technique, hitting, breaking down and hitting back. Okay, next you're going to see Scott grab Anthony's cross wrist, so Anthony's going to show you a basic wrist lock. Okay. Okay, now we're going to reverse it. Anthony's going to grab Scott. He's going to show you a wrist lock action. Down, boom. Locking it up, boom, and locking down. Good. Now we're going to ask Adam to come into the picture. We're going to show you some two-man type defense, but to do against a multiple type grab, the junior division. Okay. And stay more on center. Stay more on center. Move out a little bit more. Okay. Same situation. Always again, grab, kick the man in front, elbow, elbow, back kick to lock down. All right, switch to a different mode. Okay, different picture on them. All right, trust. As soon as you get grab, kick, elbow, elbow, back kick combination on it. Okay, to then another one. Grab, boom, 1, 2, 3, elbow, boom. Notice the action is continuous till Adam is able to escape. Okay, side by side. Opponent grabs you side by side. They grab me each arm. He's going to execute kick to one side, kick to the opposite side, and round kick again. I should actually say front kick. One more time. Opponent gets grabbed, kick to one side, kick to the next opponent, re-kick again till the opponent releases. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Face the camera, bow. Face each other, bow. Face me. Bow. Okay, step off, please. Now we're going to have Warren and Kyle out. They're going to show you some point fighting techniques. Okay, right there. Okay, face the camera. Please bow in. Face each other. Bow. Assume a fine stance position. Okay, Kyle's going to start off by showing a favorite point scoring for point tournaments. In point tournaments, kicks and punches are held above the waist in the children's division, even though you're allowed to sweep the front leg. Kyle's going to show you some of his favorite techniques out here. Kyle, anytime you're set. Okay. We have a round kick to hook kick combination. Reset again. Only demonstrate 3 techniques, please. Only 3. Set up. Ready? Again. Go. Round kick, hook kick, punch. Okay, now Warren's going to demonstrate a technique coming back. Front kick, boom. Okay, reset again. Okay, you notice front kicks are coming in, round kicks, and then back fisting out. Go. Okay. Reset again. Okay, now Kyle is going to show us a back fist to ridge hand combination. Okay, again, go Kyle. 1, 2. Now as the back fist is delivered to the head and the ridge hand follows, one more time. Okay. Now Warren's going to show us a front fake round kick. The drill here is to draw your opponent's guard down so he could come up into a round kick level to the head. Go, demonstrate. 1, 2, reset. Okay, one more time, go. Okay. Now Warren's going to demonstrate a fake with his lead hand to a spinning hook kick. Warren. Again, one more time, please, go. Okay, reset back. Kyle from this position is going to show us now a jumping back kick into his opponent. Ready, go Kyle, straight up. Okay, demonstrate again, please, reset. Ready, go. Okay, reset again. All the way back on it. Get in a little bit closer, please move up towards your opponent. Okay, now Warren's going to demonstrate a high fake to a body punch to a round kick. Okay, ready? And go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good. Face each other, bow. Face the camera, bow. Gentlemen, come back into the picture, please. Stay there. Stay there. Okay, that is all for today for Youth Focus. Thank you very much. Ready? Bow. Stay.
Hello, and in this segment we're going to focus on Shihanjo Gangi in the personal side. He is the master of Gangi Kung Fu systems and also the president of the Kang Xuan Do International Association. Shihan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your past and your background?
Sure, Mark. Originally, people always ask because of my accent and so forth that where I'm from. I was born in Sicily. Lived in Sicily till I was about 6 years of age. Moved to South America, and that's part of my childhood. From South America, moved to New York and then to Chicago. As my dad was a tailor, we got to travel quite extensively all over the place till we finally settled in Chicago in 1966.
Sounds like you've had a lot of travels throughout your young upbringing. A lot of people don't do much traveling till their later years, but you got around quite a bit as a youngster.
Yes, it was fun. At the same time, it was I had a lot of experiences with everyday confrontations. That's what basically led me into the martial arts and so forth on it. And correction, at 60, that was 1964 when I finally settled in Chicago.
So there would probably be a pivotal point that with all the moving in your youth, having to find maybe different defenses because of being the new kid on the block sometimes?
Right, correct, Mark, in their regards on it, especially in South America was a really, Venezuela's Caracas, a really experience in regards to learning self-defense due to the fact that you're the new kid on the block and so forth. Everybody's out to test, and not living under the best conditions really force you to really stand up and look out for yourself and look out for your loved ones and so forth. That's, by the way, that's when I first seen my first demonstration on the arts was in Caracas, Venezuela, when I was 9 years of age.
So you started in the martial arts at what age?
My interest started as of 10 years, when I was 10 years old, watching my first demonstration. We got into it with some friends in regards to like kids do, reading books, looking at movies and watching movies, I should say, and messing around with each other in regards to see what works, what doesn't work, and so forth and so on. My, I could say my traditional training in the arts started in 1966.
Mm-hmm. And you pretty much stayed with it the whole length through,
all the way up to today.
Well, how old were you, and what year did you achieve your black belt?
I basically achieved my black belt just as I graduated high school in 1972. I believe the summer before that, actually in 71, I was pre-tested for my black belt. And actually, the first time I went up, I didn't achieve it. So for a lot of people who want to quit because they do not achieve a certain goal, that gave me some perseverance. So I had to test actually 3 times for my black belt. I finally attained my black belt in 1972.
You have memories about your original instructors' names?
Oh yes, my instructors are still living up to today, and some are active in the martial arts. My first instructor was Sensei Mike Francisco, who's still active in one of our schools, teaching under the Gangi Kung Fu systems. And you have Sensei Rocco Filipponio, who's also one of our instructors and school associates. And we have what's called the Grandmaster, which is Grandmaster Borkowski, who is the founding head of Kang Shwando Association. Oh,
that's interesting. Meet a lot of different people over the years in this martial arts, and it has really grown in popularity. You must have a lot of people all over the country that you keep in touch with and meet and at different meets and so on.
Yes, I do, Mark. In regards on it, due to my extensive traveling in the martial arts and in competition on it, we traveled nationwide from New York, St. Louis, Minneapolis, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, LA, so forth. And so I traveled to all the major cities in competition. Some of the competitors I've met and competed with, such as Benny the Jet Arguidas, undefeated champion in kickboxing on it, Mr. Bill Wallace on it. Some masters who don't compete but are very, very excellent. There are such as Master Danny Inosanto. Danny Inosanto, by the way, is Bruce Lee's protege, when Bruce Lee passed away, Master Lee passed away, he basically designated the system to him, the Jeet Kune Do system of Kung Fu on it. Another great one that everybody knows is Miss Arlene Lemus, who took the gold medal in the Olympics in the women's heavyweight division. I've known her since she was 6 years of age. So yes, we do get to travel a lot on it. Mr. Fred Dagerberg, Mr. Tom Letuli, Tom Saviano. Those are just a few of the people that I've met and really have helped me with my upbringing and continuation in the arts.
Well, Shihan, what was your first year of competition? Do you remember?
It's a long time ago. My first year of competition as a black belt was actually in I believe 1972, if I'm correct on it. I started competing as a black belt when I was at a brown belt level. Oh. And I started competing just as a matter of a test, which was one of our requirements in our system to compete in the black belt division before you are a brown belt, just to test your fire more or less in their regards on it. I didn't fare that quite well, but as I went through the years on it, I started winning more and more and more up until this point now. In the last 3 years, I've taken what's called the Lama Nationals. That's a national tournament, which I've won fighting in forms for the past 3 years, undefeated senior champion.
Well, now that you bring that up, what are some of the major accomplishments that you've achieved in some of the tournaments?
On it, well, the most one that that sticks to my mind is winning my first Grand National champion. That was 1975 AKA Grand Nationals on it. And it's a funny story behind that on it. That came after winning about 11 tournaments in a row, undefeated on it. But previous to that, I lost like 10 tournaments in a row. So it gives you an idea of the ups and downs in competition, in any type of form of competition on it. But so the AKA Grand National sticks in my mind because it's a tournament that I wanted to win I looked at it for 3 years, and I finally achieved that goal on it. The other goal that I set myself for was finally winning the seniors division in the Lama Nationals. That's something I looked forward to for 5 years, and then I've won it for 91, 92, and 93, and 94 I basically kicked back a little bit and more or less pay attention more to the schools and the upbringing of my students, because I want them to follow my footsteps and keeping up the name of Gangi Kung Fu Systems out there.
Would you say that as far as your students and your school goes, competition is interweave pretty much into the school itself, or do you try to separate them, or what's your feelings on that?
Well, competition is not for everyone. We recommend you go out and watch competition so you understand, you know what it's about on it. Some people are made, like I say, they're psychologically set for competition and so forth. Some are not. Competition is not mandatory in our system. We do recommend, though, that you do compete at a certain level, whether it's form level, weapons level, fighting level, or what's called an assisting level, knowing how to run a tournament, so you have knowledge of tournament. So when people say, well, what tournaments are no good or tournaments have no aspects of it, my philosophy behind that is, how do you know unless you try, so forth. That doesn't mean because you're not a tournament competitor or you're never competing in tournaments or you don't care to compete in tournaments that you'll never be a good martial artist. There's a lot of excellent martial artists out there who cannot, how can I say, who cannot really teach their point tournaments or regular tournament fighting. They're great tournament fights, but they cannot get out there and explain what they're doing to become champions. And the same thing there's a lot of great martial artists out there who are great martial arts in a self-defense point of view. It's kind of people I would like to have behind me when I walk into a dark alley and I need somebody to back me up, if that case ever be, on it, as opposed to just having somebody who can score a point and get a trophy.
Well, there's many benefits to the martial arts outside of just competition. I'm sure there's numerous things that a youngster would get out of it, or at any age, besides the competition.
Oh, exactly, Mark. On it. One thing about the martial arts is stretching is very beneficial for all age groups on it. We have students from the ages of 5 to 75 on it, and the stretching really keeps your body limber, keeps your energy flowing, and so forth on it. It's really great to fight stress. The meditation values behind it teaches you how to focus better on your goals every day on it. The self-defense awareness of it, being aware without ever having to use the martial arts, is one of the best things you could find out of it.
Well, that's a question I had for you too. As far as self-defense, can you get into it a little more, just strictly from a self-defense standpoint, what the martial arts can really help anybody achieve?
Well, self-defense point of view, self-defense, you have to, first of all, you have to be aware. Self-defense without awareness, as somebody said once, is like having a gun without bullets. You're looking for trouble in their regards on it. The self-defense awareness of it, the ability to use self-defense in common sense situations. That means using self-defense without being fancy or dropping into a stance, looking very Karate Kid-like, more or less, using that expression on it. But the self-defense point, it should be fast, should be realistic, should be to the point, and it should be something that anybody can use according to their body structure and mental makeup. Psychological makeup, I should say.
Excuse me. Sure. I'd like to ask you how the arts in everyday life, say, relieve stress.
Well, relieve stress on their regard. We have a couple of students where their jobs make them very stressful and so forth. And what we do is try to tell them to find 5 minutes out of their time on it, learn how to control their breath, learn to control their breathing, learning how to control their emotion on it, so they could basically go on with what they have to achieve on it. If you're really tense and so forth on it, and you're screaming up a storm because somebody didn't do something in your office on it, we tell you to step back, take a deep breath, the old saying, count to 10 or count to 20, picture or scenery, something at that point of view that'll make you relax and make you come back into focus without being aggravated.
Is there anything involved as far as meditation in martial arts as far as your teachings?
As far as my teaching, yes. Meditation is something that I believe is very, very personal. Again, religion does not touch into our meditation point of view. You know, you follow your own religious beliefs on it, but we do have what's called meditation techniques to learn how to control the inner self.
Okay, and any particular philosophies that you try to live by through your program?
Basically, our philosophy is to teach martial arts to basically any type of individual and so forth on it. My philosophy and my system is to bring anybody who comes into my studio to the best that they can be on their body structure, again, psychological makeup and so forth. We adapt our system to the individual, as opposed to saying somebody who really doesn't have a great stretch and you go to a system that teaches you a lot of kicks, or you have somebody who's very frail and goes into a system that teaches you how to do a lot of throws on it. So we find a self-defense curriculum or technique curriculum that fits that individual's body, so you come up with 100% achievement for what they can do. In that regards.
You know, I've had a question I've wanted to ask someone in the martial arts for years. Now, I'm left-handed.
Yes.
Do you still teach the same technique in the same way, or is there, say boxing, they try to convert lefties to righties, and how does that work in the martial arts?
We don't convert anybody in regards to left or right. We take your best natural talents and we work that with you. That's in our systems. Now, some systems do follow the boxing philosophy of orthodox, keeping the left forward and the right back, so forth and so on. An example, I'm opposite of that. I'm naturally righty, so I work with my right side forward. I've tried boxing, they try to convert me, it doesn't work for me. But I have adapted the boxing techniques so they work for me on my right side. And that's a philosophy that we follow in our systems. And so somebody like you, if you have a great left, we keep you lefty. We show you techniques in martial arts. It's a balancing point physically and mentally. So you learn techniques right-handed and left-handed. So you have a total what's called a yin and yang balance, positive and negative. The same thing, of course, you're going to be more powerful in the beginning with your left than your right, as it was with me. I was told you're right-handed for the first 2 years of my training, and then after third, fourth year, I got into my left side and so forth. So we have techniques that bring up your positive side, at the same time control your negative side.
Can you give me an idea of the age that you may want to consider starting your son or your daughter in the martial arts, the youngest? I'm sure you can be too young. Kids would be distracted. But physically speaking, and mentally, what do you think a good starting age would be?
A good starting age for kids is we start them as young as 5 years of age. We have little dragons classes. There are 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. We have mini peewee classes on it, and those are like the 8, 9, 10-year-olds. We have junior classes, and those are like 11 to 13 on it. We have young adults on it, which range from the age of 17 on it. Some schools will not accept children. Some schools wait unless they're 8 years of age. They don't want to basically talk to you, more or less on it. Some schools don't accept children, period. On it. A good age to start a child is look for a program, make sure that the classes are constructed so the child is learning and at the same time is fun for them, because at that age group we found out that their attention span is anywhere between a half hour to 45 minutes, and you start losing them on it. So we try to construct the class. Class should be constructively fun, at the same time they should be learning techniques and so forth. Don't expect your child to automatically understand everything the instructor is doing and doing everything to the T as the instructor asks for it, because we always tell our parents, if you think it's easy, you're welcome to come on the mat and try with the kids on it. And we hear, no, let them do it, they're kids, that type of thing on it. I've had people ask to have their kids put in as young as 3.5 years of age. We don't do that. I know there's some schools that do, so you have to look in your area, look for a good school to put your kid in, make sure that the instructor is attentive on it, go from there.
And then on the other spectrum, I'm sure you have some older people that are involved.
Oh, yes.
Tell me a little bit about some of the older people you have and their ages.
I'm not going to say any names on it because I'll probably be screaming because of the age group on it, but we do have what I call the senior citizen or groups on it. And we have people who are like in their late 40s to even like my oldest student who is 72 years of age in their regards on it. So to give you an idea on it, it doesn't matter in regard. People say, well, I'm too old or I'm too young on it. Martial arts is for anyone who wants to get involved. You just have to actually be careful what the school is teaching. In other words, if I was 55 years old and the school is teaching nothing but Muay Thai or kickboxing, hardcore, I don't know how long I would want to do that because my bones being frail, so forth and so on. However, if I was brought up through my lifetime of training, then it might not be a problem in that regards. But it's actually up to the individual how much he can take, how much you can do on it. There are such arts as Tai Chi, Bagua Sheng, Xing Yi, which are great arts for older people to help them with their flexibility, arthritis, and so forth. Martial arts are very wonderful. It can really get the best out of the individual in that regards. And by the way, our older group is as good as our intermediate group, and so far they really give me 100% at all times, and they're a great group on it.
I'd imagine there's a lot of health benefits with a steady workout like that for, well, any age group.
Oh, exactly on it. Basically, it's aerobic and anaerobic and so forth on it, and you get the best of it. You get out of it basically what you put into it. You could do it, put more intense into it. You could be more intense about it, or you could lay back on it. The conditioning exercises, the breathing exercises, and the control exercise you have are phenomenal. So people say, well, I'm too old for this, or I'm too old for that on it. It's all what's up here that's going to matter, and your goal to say, yes, I can, as opposed to, I'll come up with an excuse as to why not to go. But I recommend, though, again, look for a school that really suits your needs before you go anywhere and sign anything in that regards.
How many students do you currently have?
Basic right now, we run a total of about 300 students. Our association holds about a total of about, today, about 700 students.
Oh, boy.
In that regards.
That many.
That's association-wide, though, from all over the nation, not just locally on it.
All right.
Regardless to how many students I've taught in my past years, I'm sure it ranges in a couple of thousands, at least, on in my last 21 years of teaching.
And you're on the North Shore?
Right now we're out of Prospect Heights.
Okay. Well, it's very, very interesting. Martial arts, it's really caught on quite rapidly over the last 10 years or so, and it's been a real pleasure talking with you about it today.
Thank you, Mark.
And thank you, Shihan Joe Gangi, and see you again.
You're going Kevin first? Go ahead.
Hi, how you doing today? My name's Kamikaze Kevin Miller. Today I'm going to be talking to you about some of the ways a kickboxer trains and some of the drills he does during his training. and I'm going to get back into talking about some of the local fighters in the area and how they're doing. First, I'm going to talk about the fighters. I'd like to give a congratulations first to Mike Tension-Nevitt. Had his pro debut this weekend. He had a nice second round knockout with a nice round kick to the head. Good luck in the future, Mike. Also, Mike Nasty Nagy. This kid seems to be unstoppable. He's 21-0 now with 17 knockouts. And good luck to you in the future too, Mike. In kickboxing, a fighter uses the hand techniques of a boxer, and he trains with all the kicking techniques of a martial artist. He has to train hard every day, so he has to get his road work done. Running, jumping rope, bag work, punch mitts, kicking shield, lots of stretching, and very important, a very good diet for energy. Gangi today is going to hold some pads, and we're going to go through some drills and show you on some drills that we can do to help your techniques out.
This segment show, which we call the Kamikaze Kevin Miller kickboxing report on it. We're going to be just showing you different techniques in kickboxing. Hopefully we'll be bringing you different individuals who do a lot of kickboxing, showing their favorite techniques along with Sensei Kamikaze Kevin Miller. So I could be excused for 1 second. Again, we'll get it on with Kamikaze Kevin, showing you some of the kickboxing techniques. We're going to start off with today?
Punch mitts.
Your punch mitts are basically gloves in which you can focus your different hand techniques, kicking techniques, elbow techniques, whatever drills you want to set up for on it. Why don't you go from this hand then? If you notice, Sensei Kevin Miller, he has his hands wrapped. It's very important that you put on hand wraps. Sensei Kevin, can you show the hand wraps up there? You have your hands wrapped and so far, making sure that protects your bones and fingers from getting majorly cracked along with gloves. First combination is?
We're going to start out with a double jab and a cross.
Double jab and a cross.
Okay, as you notice, every time I throw a punch, I'm exhaling my air out, my energy, when I throw my punches. That's to protect myself, help my endurance, and it's going to give me more power in my punches. Okay, so I always blow out of my techniques. Next thing I'm going to work, showing a double jab with the cross, bringing my hand back, I'm going to throw the hook again, left hook. Jab, jab, cross. When you get into punch mitts, you can't think of the mitts as just being mitts. If I treat them like a piece of equipment, that's what I'm going to get out of it. I always have to use everything as if I'm fighting a person. So you notice when I throw my jab, okay, I throw my cross and moving my head. I bring my hand back up, okay, I'm ducking my head around. So I'm getting in the movement of jab, jab, bam, 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 bam. Okay, I'm getting into moving my head. Next combination we're going to set up with, I'm going to throw jab, jab, cross. He's going to hold the mitts up high. I'm going to throw a rear leg round kick. Okay, so jab, jab, cross.
One more.
Next follow-up, I'm going to do the opposite. Jab, jab, cross. I'm going to throw a hook. He's going to show me for the left leg round kick. Both ways. Coming.
Slow. Slow. Fast, go.
Okay, good. Next thing we're going to show in there is a boxer's uppercut. Going to add it in. I like to use everything off of my jab myself because I keep him busy with the jab. I can move into everything else. So I'm going to go bam, 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 throw a cross. He's going to show me uppercut. I'm going to throw a hook. I'm going to come uppercut the other side. He's going to show me the hook again and the cross.
Slow.
So I'm going jab, jab, cross, uppercut, hook, uppercut, hook, bam, and I finish with the power.
Slow. There you go. Slow again.
Okay. Different kind of techniques you can use in the kickboxing. You got your front kicks. Okay, lead leg, rear leg.
Again, do again. Lead leg. Whip.
At different levels too. Okay, I got what we showed Shem before. I got my round kick. I got the other side, which I can use varied heights. I can go down to the body. Okay, rolling my hip. I can go high. Okay. I can also use lead leg. I can use my hook kicks from the lead leg. From here, I can go on the other side. Okay. I can also spin. Use a spinning hook.
Again.
Okay. Now we're going to go into the kicking shields.
Again, as you're doing these drills, be very cautious if you're working it at home in regards to who's holding your mitts, and so as you could accidentally drive through and actually hit the person behind.
When you're working on your power, I can get into power kicks. Yeah. Okay? Just thrusting the hand through. I'm not going to power out because this isn't a very thick pad. Sheehan's a strong man, but they take the toll after all. First thing in the show, bam, working out just the lead leg. Front side kicks. Okay, switch them out.
You got to stay in the front. Staying tighter in the front.
I can come through working with my boxing combos, working spinning back kicks, getting them nice and tight. See, I set that up, I'm using my jab. Sticking my jab in his face, driving that kick out. Okay? I can also use it, working combinations, cutting angles, side kicks, front kicks, but I can use the high ones just as an aerial and set up the hard ones. Okay, that's enough of our kickboxing tonight. Farewell.
Okay, again, the segment kickboxing with Sensei Kevin Kamikaze Miller. Thank you very much. Sensei Kevin, thank you. Good luck in your future. Hi, welcome back to this segment of the show, which we call Wild American Samurai Tales. This is Shihan Gangi of Gangi's Kung Fu Systems. And this segment of the show, what we like to basically talk about is different tales, American samurai tales in regards to stories that where martial arts were used or maybe not used, or how individuals basically got themselves out of a certain situation. At the end of the show, you're going to see an address or a P.O. box where you can send. If you have any tales you'd like to basically share with us, please send them to us. Okay, and our tale today has to do with myself when I was basically working as a bouncer at one of the local bars in, I can't say the name on it, but in the local area on it. Had to do with a young man. Upon checking his ID at the door, he basically showed me his martial arts ID card, which is not proper identification when one goes into a drinking establishment such as a bar. But telling the young man that it wasn't a valid ID to get in, he turned around and basically told me that he would like to trash me all about, in which I said, I don't think your sensei, which means instructor, would like for you to do that. And he basically questioned that I questioned his honor in front of his friends and requested me to go outside and to take care of this problem. Well, basically, I obliged them and went outside to take care of the problem. And mind you, this was in the middle of winter. It was snowing outside. They had about 3 inches of snow. And I think this individual was watching too many Billy Jack movies or too many martial arts movies. As we got outside, he told me to wait because he had to take off his boots and his socks, which I basically started laughing. Meanwhile, the authorities, the police department was called in. So as I'm talking to this individual down to the fact that his toes were turning blue and so forth on it, as he got into his so-called stance, whatever it was anyways, his foot, I approached him to talk to him. I stomped on his foot, a punch which he let out a scream, and I vertical punched him square in the chin, which he dropped against the car. At the same time, the police department arrived and told the individual as to who I was, and he basically ended up apologizing to Shihan Gangi over and over and over again, that sure I identify myself to him. That's our short tale. I think it was a funny tale, to give you an idea how people foresee the martial arts on it. So I called it the frozen foot story on it. Second story had to do with in the same establishment, and we asked the individual to uncover or take off his hat, as hats were not allowed in the establishment on it. He started with some abusive language, and again, of course, a challenge ensues as we walked him outside. Language was really going too far out of hand on it. Myself and some of the bouncers escorted him out the door on it, in which case, when he got his hat, he turned around and swung at yours truly, which I ducked the blow, and I turned around and I basically front kicked his hat off his head, in which case the kid jumped back about 3 feet and got into one of his stances, saying that he was trained by one of the armed forces and he could kill me in X amount of seconds, so forth and so on, which was understandable. In which case I swept his lee leg out, grabbed him by the hair, threw him into a wall, locked him up with cuffs, and we waited to bring until the authorities arrived and locked him up and got him basically out of there. Their regards on it. Again, samurai tales, some are believable, some are not. It's basically up to you to decide what is fiction, what is fact on it. Some of these stories will be made up to the fact to see how the audience, yourselves, you're watching this program, handles this type of situation. Some I think is too violent for that type of content. Some of you would have had better ways of handling the situation. Some will be more violent, some will be more loose on it. But in regards to that, again, samurai tales, and that's the tail end of our story. Again, next, we're getting into what we call Shihan's question and answer. And our first question is from?
Well, Shihan, Karen Martin would like to know if the martial arts will help a smaller individual against a much larger individual.
Well, the martial arts, again, that's why it is a martial arts. And the martial arts size has something to do with it, but the idea of the martial arts is to bring out the spiritual end of you, and it's also the mental aspects of it. So the idea of martial arts is to get maximum efficiency with minimum effort. So an example, if I could lock you up and hit a pressure point on your body, or avoid the situation, or make you miss me as you're attacking me and so forth, yes, it does help against a larger individual, especially if I know where to hit you and you do not know how to cover. The other thing against a larger individual, again, use the brain, not the brawn. Okay, that's why it's called a martial art, not a balking art. Next question.
Thank you very much, Shihan.
Okay. Again, that was, I guess, our question. Thank you again for being on Joe Gangi's Midwest Martial Arts Review. If you have any questions, please drop us a line. Thank you.